Helen. Welcome to the How2MOOC, your human services MOOC.
Hi, Faye. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Helen, you and I have been working on a number of MOOCs. This is number three, right?
Number 3.
We've been having a lot of fun making MOOCs these days. Helen, I'm so happy to have you here today to share with our course participants about your experience with social MOOCs. Probably you can first talk about your involvement with the MOOCs.
Absolutely. The first MOOC that I was involved in was the one that we did together on LinkedIn. And I had 2 roles in that MOOC. One is I came on, similar as I am with you today, as a subject matter expertise because I do a lot of work in LinkedIn. And the second role I had in that MOOC was as in the role of a mentor, which is about community building and getting the participants involved. The MOOC that we're working on now around mentoring for vulnerable youth, I'm right down in the weeds and getting involved really from the ground up. So it's a tremendous learning experience because I think MOOCs are a really valuable tool.
That's great. Helen, you were among one of the mentors in our first LinkedIn MOOC, and I actually have stats here in this very MOOC. The exit survey of the participants show 64.8% students rated the course either 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 on the overall satisfaction scale.
Wow.
In the feedback we collected, many participants attributed their MOOC success to the mentors. So I have included some of the comments from that survey in our interview intro, and I can show you later, Helen, and that is indeed a grand testimonial on the effect of mentoring in the MOOC. I'm wondering, because I can see it from the course participants' perspective and also from instructor or course designers' perspective, but how did it feel for you as a mentor, and how, in your view, what is the effect of mentoring and why it is important for the MOOC community building?
I think the mentoring in the MOOCs that I've been involved in was a critical component to the community building because it's those discussions where I think most of the community building takes place. A lot of the work that the participants do in the MOOC is done on their own. So it's in these discussion forums where we can all come together. So my mentoring experience, I felt I was involved in 3 ways. The first way was in helping people with the content, answering questions. Sometimes the material was material that had been covered in the MOOC, but it's easier or they needed reinforcing. And I think that's an important part. Just because we've covered something in the MOOC doesn't mean that people necessarily understood it the first time round. So it provides that ability for participants to get questions answered. We also had participants asking questions on things that weren't part of the content that had been provided. So that, I think, was a way that we could add value. A second thing that we were able to do was to help encourage people to participate. And one way was to take the first step, to be the icebreaker, to post questions or to put something down, a comment, and encourage people to get involved in the discussion groups. We could identify if somebody was a very active participant because there were a number of people that were very regularly involved in the conversations. So we could encourage them to maintain that high level of involvement by adding comments to things they had posted in the discussions and thanking them. And then the third way we were able to help, I think, is in providing an environment which was welcoming and safe, because the participants came from such a wide range of backgrounds. Some would have had experience with those kinds of online discussions, others not so much. So a mentor is able to monitor and see what's going on in the discussion forums, making sure that people are staying on topic and that the type of comments that are going on are things that are appropriate and make that a sort of a welcoming and safe place. So those are the three things that I think I was able to do as a mentor.
It is very important, Helen, and I'm glad you said it so well and analyzed the true effect of mentoring in the community building. And because all our course participants wanted to make their own social MOOCs one day in the future, and I'm thinking we should give them some advice on how to plan to see the mentoring when they are designing and implementing their MOOC project, not waiting until the MOOC is launched.
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the things with MOOCs is that in general, the content is spread out over a period of hours. It's not something that you're doing just once and then you go away. The MOOCs that I've been involved in, they go on for a number of weeks. So you want to be thinking, I think, very carefully about when are you going to be providing opportunities for people to discuss the content and to connect as a community. And is that going to be something that's going to be available throughout the entire course? Are you going to only offer it at certain times? And depending on the choices that you make, you're going to have to find your mentors. Am I finding somebody for a 6-week period? How many do I need if I'm making, mentoring an ongoing part of my MOOC? And then also thinking about who should be selected as mentors. Are you looking for a subject matter expert, as I was on LinkedIn? In other cases, you might be looking for somebody who is a peer to the participant group. So youth helping youth would be an example of that. So none of that is stuff that would come together, I don't think, as effectively last minute. Right. To me, there would be tremendous benefits to doing that kind of thinking as you're doing your course development, so that you can decide how best to make use of mentors and when you want to have those sort of community building opportunities.
I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, when we were doing our next gen resume MOOC, right at the beginning, we invited youth to be involved in the course design, and they were playing part of the role as the instructor as well as being the mentors in our course, and that was very effective.
Absolutely. I mean, as the mentor, however they're coming from, whether they're subject matter experts or peer-to-peer mentoring, getting them involved at that planning process means they can actually help influence the content, and I think that only makes your MOOC richer.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Helen, for coming
My
today.
pleasure.
And I hope you can be the mentor of this course.
Thank you for having me. It was very nice to see you again, Faye.
Thank you. Bye.